I've got some good news. I've got great news actually. The good news is you're back here with me for another episode of Banjo and a Beer. So I'm assuming that you took my advice and you've spent the last few days exploring the different styles of banjo playing with a 5-string banjo, and you have decided to give the clawhammer style a bloody good go. Excellent. That means right now you are already 2.5 years ahead of where I was when I first started. Because like I said in episode 1, I spent the best part of 2 years doing a style that I wasn't really taking to. But that's my story. Your story is going to be totally different. And we're here today to learn and progress just a little bit further in our banjo learning journey. And by the end of this lesson, we're going to start our first groove, our first rhythmic strum. It's called the basic Frailing strum. It is the foundation of everything clawhammer banjo. There is some bad news, however. And the bad news is the clawhammer banjo learning journey, learning curve, looks something like that. And right now we are roughly about here. In the last episode we was here, now we're here. And we need to get to this point here. And why do we need to get to that point? Because once we're here, everything kind of levels off and it becomes natural to the point where you can just play a nice rhythmic groove without thinking about it, without even looking at your hand. You can hold a few chord shapes, nothing too difficult. So we need to get to this point here. This point here is where we can hold a steady rhythm, the basic groove. We can play just a handful of chords. You'll notice then I didn't go much further than here. You know, you don't see me up and down, all the way down here doing this fancy stuff with all my fingers. So you can play most of the chords between frets 1 and 5. So most of our action is going to be up here. And yeah, so it's my job now to help you the best I can to get from here to here, and from there we can progress and we can just run with it and make some music and relax and have fun. So my name is Ben Dorning. I am the creator of the amazing banjoadventures.com. It's an online space where new and beginner banjo players can all come together to fulfill their desires and to fulfill their potential to become competent banjo players using the clawhammer style. So when you get a minute after this video, please check out banjoadventures.com, and if you want the fully guided, uninterrupted, no adverts learning journey from start to finish, consider becoming a member. Right, Banjo and a Beer wouldn't be that without this week's bottle. So let's see what we've got in the Wheel of Fortune today. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have Bishop's Finger. I played it a bit safe last week, drinking a Kronenberg, didn't I? So I've gone a bit more exotic today. Kentish strong ale, a rich and fruity ruby ale. Rich and fruity, sounds like me that. So let's get this one open, and keeping in style with last week's bottle opener. There we go. Bishop's Finger. I can safely say I've never tasted a Bishop's Finger before. But I'll try anything once, you know me. I'm interested to see what having a Bishop's Finger inside me feels like. So cheers. Ten out of 10. Lovely that. If you're wondering, I do take all my bottles and my bottle caps home, so I don't just leave it there. Oh, see? Listen to that. I've gone out of tune. I just poured one drink, and my banjo's gone out of tune. That's what I said to you last week. It's got that many moving parts. but they just go out of tune without warning. So first job first, pause the video, get your banjo tuned back up to standard open G, check every string, make sure you're in tune. Okay, so today we're learning the basic Frailing strum. Last week we just created our gun shape. We did a nice and simple strum thumb, like that. And we learnt about timing. And before we jump feet first into the full basic Frailing strum, I've got one exercise that I will work through with you to start with, just to build up a bit of that hammering action. Remember last week I said we're going to hammer? We play banjo by hammering down on the strings. So I'm going to show you a simple exercise just to get into the feel of that hammering action. And before we do that, I want to steal an analogy from the world of boxing. Now, a world championship heavyweight boxer at the top of his game, when he first started, the first day you've ever walked into the boxing gym, put a pair of gloves on for the first time, the first punch that he ever learned was probably the jab, one of them. Now, anyone can throw a jab, a little baby can throw a jab. That doesn't make them a boxer though, does it? You know, I can do that. That doesn't mean I'm going to win any fights anytime soon. Now, a boxer on day one learns the jab. It probably takes him a couple of minutes to understand what a jab is. That boxer then spends the rest of his career up until the day where he hangs up his gloves for the last time, working that jab, perfecting it, mastering it, making it his own, and the whole career is spent perfecting it. The reason why I'm saying this is the basic Frailing strum in clawhammer banjo is our jab. It's going to take you the best part of 2 or 3 minutes to see what it is, understand what it is. It's going to take you years to master it, to perfect it, to get it sounding how you want it to sound. That doesn't mean it's going to take you years to learn how to play music on the banjo. Quite the opposite. With the basic Frailing strum, it can just take a couple of weeks, you know, to start playing your first songs. But we need to understand and tame the basic Frailing strum, because just like the jab in boxing, without a jab, you can't set up any combinations. Without a jab, you can't land a right hook, you know what I mean? That jab it's there to create the rhythm of the boxer. It's there to create timing and consistency. And it's the same with the basic Frailing strum. It just contains 3 simple noises: a pluck, a strum, and a thumb. And we already know how to do the strum thumb, because we did that last week. So we just need to work on this hammering, this plucking action, this hammering down. So I'm going to come sit next to you now. Don't worry, I don't smell. I'm going to come sit next to you. We're going to get a nice close-up, and I'm going to show you exactly how to start getting into the action of doing this hammering motion. Right, as you can see, this is obviously my banjo. We're at a cool angle now, so you can see everything that's going to happen. And my thumb there is on the 5th string. So we've got string 5, 4, 3, 2, and string 1. Right, we're going to make our gun shape. There we go. Stick your middle finger out, like that. Thumb on the 5th string, and then we'll just practice that exercise 1. So it's going to go strum thumb. Do that a few times. Strum thumb. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, we had a good go at that in episode 1, so I won't focus too much on that. But what I want to do now is we're going to maintain that position and put your thumb on the 5th string there, and then using the back of the middle fingernail, we're just going to slowly work our way down the strings until we get to the last string, so string number 1. So you can see my middle fingernail there is just stroking string number 1. So copy what I'm doing, okay, and then just get your fingernail just the tip of your fingernail, just on the edge of the string, okay, just like that, okay. And then what I'm going to ask you to do is just freeze your hand in that position there. And take your hand off your banjo. Okay, locked into that position there. Now you'll notice that I've got a gap between my middle finger and my thumb. You see that gap there? That distance, that gap there, is exactly the same distance as my first string and my fifth string. Okay. So with our hand in that position now, what I want you to do is just ever so slightly lift your hand off your banjo, and then we're going to hammer down onto the first string. Now when you do this, I want you to hammer through the string as if you're going into the banjo head. So you have to be quite aggressive. It's going to sound like this. Oops. I had my finger on the string at the top then, so I'll take my hand off, put my hand down here somewhere. Okay. And it's going to sound like this. So what I'm not doing there, I'm not doing this. I'm not bouncing my nail off the string. I'm driving through the string into the banjo head. Now watch my thumb when I do this. Did you hear that? Listen to my thumb. My thumb is hitting the banjo head. Now some people say don't do that. Some people do it on purpose because if you listen to this, it creates a nice drum sound. And people who do it end up with a brain patch here. And that's because the thumb's constantly beating on the drum. So if your thumb does that automatically, do not worry about it. It can be quite a cool sound to have. So anyway, let's assume the position again. I'm going to put our thumb on the fifth string, middle finger on the first, and then raise it, and then drive through the string. Again. Again. Your banjo has this thing here, it's like an armrest. Your forearm kind of pivots on that. So get the shape again, and then see how my arm pivots on the armrest? I'm not going up here, nothing too extreme, just like that. Let's do that a few times, you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In episode 1, I explained the importance of good timekeeping, good timing. Now, what you can do is on just typical mobile phones, you can download lots of these types of apps. This one here is one I use. It's called Metro Timer. It's called a metronome. And what you can do, you can set the speed of it. So I like to use for beginners, for beginner banjo players, I usually recommend a speed of 60 beats a minute. Hit play, and you can hear that ticking away in the background. Okay. This is going to help with your timing. What you don't want to do is overly rely on metronomes, but they are good for beginners to work on the timing. So what we're going to do is on every single beat, we're going to hammer down like this. And then in between the hammer downs on the off beats, we're going to use our thumb in between the clicks, okay? So it should sound like this. Okay, what I'm going to do now, grab your banjo, tune it to stand open G, and I want you to just repeat after me, and we'll do it for a few minutes, okay? 3. Here we go. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and... Okay, you can stop now. So that is a really great exercise for just working on that hammering motion. I'm ready to make a running grab from the camera in case it blows over in the wind. It's quite windy today, despite the sun, it is quite windy. Yeah, so work on that as a separate exercise, because the basic frailing strum is going to combine what we did in episode 1 and that to create that basic frailing strum sound. And timing, you'll hear me mention timing all the time in episode 1. I've just mentioned it now. I've shown you a metronome. And what I want to do now is just do a quick demonstration and show you the difference between a song with perfect timing and a song that has no timing at all. A song which not only speeds up, slows down, but stops halfway through. The exact same song, but 2 different ways of playing it. So it's dueling banjos, we all know this one. So I'll play it without any timing at all. I don't need to continue. So what I was doing there, I was playing the dueling banjo song, not necessarily bad, I was hitting the notes, you could tell what the song was, but there was just no timing. I was speeding up, I was slowing down, I was stopping, I was speeding up again, I was slowing down, I was stopping, and it was all over the place, timing wise. The song was there, it's just the timing that made it sound completely rubbish. So I'm gonna get my metronome now, I'm gonna set it to a fairly quick speed for me, 120. Okay, you can hear that ticking away now. And now every main note, I'm gonna hit on that count, on the click. Exact same song again, and just listen to the difference. I'll just start off with a basic frailing strum. So I didn't play it fast, I didn't play it slow, I just played it at a nice constant tempo. The wind put me off a little bit, but you can tell the difference, you know, it's not always about hitting the exact notes. If you can maintain a nice steady rhythm, a timing, you can miss half the notes can be off, but as long as you keep that groove, that momentum, that rhythm going, the basic frailing strum is like your jackhammer. This hand now, this frailing hand that we're going to perfect today, I call it, it's like your jackhammer. Once it starts going, it's not to stop. So this hand, this is your jackhammer hand. I'm going to show you the technique now, but bearing in mind, this is me showing you how to do the jab on your first day of boxing class. You're going to take this away and you're going to perfect it and you're going to work on it, and it's going to take many, many, many hours. Just to steal another quote from, I think it must have been Bruce Lee, I'm not sure, but the quote goes something like this: I am not afraid of a fighter who knows 1,000 different kicks, but I truly fear the enemy who's practiced one kick 1,000 times. And for us, the basic frailing strum is our one kick, and we need to practice it for 1,000 hours for it to really sink in, to build that groove, to get that momentum going. It becomes your jackhammer. Remember that time in that? You're doing that to your favourite songs. That's what the basic frailing strum is. Enough talking, let me show you how to do it. Are you ready to learn the boxing jab? The lethal kick. This is our lethal kick now. This is called the basic frailing strum. I've just noticed I've got a shadow of my camera right across my banjo head. I couldn't have picked a worse time of the day to do this. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to rotate around so we have no shadow. I'm actually sat on the floor now to demonstrate this, so look what you've reduced me to. It's okay. Right, so I'll just demonstrate it again. So we're creating that shape, our gun shape. Stick your middle finger out a bit. And then thumb on the fifth string, we're just going to line our middle Middle finger up with that first string there. The first action, we're going to hammer down. Second action, we're not going to make any noise on our way back up. But then the third action, we're going to do that strum thumb that I showed you in episode 1. After the strum thumb, you'll find that your hand ends up somewhere around here, just floating. And that is a perfect position, ready to hammer down again, to repeat the process. Okay, so action 1 goes like this. Action 2, we rear back. Action 3, we strum. Action 4, we thumb. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. The key to making the basic Frailing strum sound good and creates that bum ditty, boom chicka groove is the space on action 2. So we hammer down, create that moment of silence, and that is so important in time for the strum thumb. What a lot of beginners do, and I see this quite a lot, is they get so hyper focused on creating the sounds, the hammer down, the strum and the thumb, they end up doing something like this. And that's wrong because you're not getting the boom chicka sound, you're just getting the boom chicka, bum ditty sound happens because of that space. Bum ditty, bum ditty. You're letting the bum ring out for just a little bit longer. Bum ditty, bum ditty. So try not to do this, because that's not quite right. And to help us along, we're going to set a metronome again. And what I want you to do is, you've learned how to do the jab now, you've learned how to do the basic Frailing strum. It's just a case of putting it into action. So we're going to hit the timer for 60 beats a minute and you're going to play along with me. I'm going to work on this together. I'll count us in, you ready? 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. Okay, I've shown you how to do the jab now. We're going to take it one step further just to make it a bit more natural and a bit more challenging. Right, I'm going to set a metronome for 60 beats a minute. You're going to hear it ticking away in the background. I'm going to play with you. We're just going to focus on the first string exactly as I've shown you. And we're just going to really lock in this new technique and get to grips with it, okay? I think you can do it. Oh! One last thing as well, this is important. This is the spanner in the works, it's really going to cock you up. You are not allowed to look at your Frailing hand. That's right, you have to do this blind. You can look up there, you can look over there, you can look into the eyes of your loved one if you truly wish. You can stare at the sky, look at the ceiling. Do not look at your Frailing hand. That is cheating. And the reason why I say that is not just to be cruel, but eventually our left hand is going to be doing stuff up here, which will require us to see what we're doing, you know, to make sure we hit certain strings. So if we're looking down here, we can't see this hand. So from day one, from today, we need to create a mind of its own with this Frailing hand, okay? So that's why you must not look down at your Frailing hand, that's important. So I'll count us in. We'll start on the first string, just going to rock away, let it take us to places nice and peaceful, and yeah, that's how we'll finish this video, and I'll see you next on the next episode. Alrighty, here we go. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. Perfect.